Good evening to all our viewers. Welcome to the BRS Industry Roundup. Today we bring to you a pressing topic: how, with a wink of an eye, Sri Lanka became vulnerable to the tariffs imposed by the USA. Although it has been paused and we now have a 90-day breather for negotiations, Sri Lanka must weigh its options critically. On that note, I would like to introduce today's guest speaker, Mr. Felix Fernando, the Chief Executive Officer of Omega Line Limited. He also currently serves as the Deputy Chairman of the Joint Apparel Association Forum of Sri Lanka. Sir, it's our pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, and good evening to all of you.
To start off, given the immediate impact from the imposed tariff and the USA being Sri Lanka's top export market, the government of Sri Lanka is lobbying for tariff relief. However, Sri Lanka has to be ready to face the worst outcome. In that context, what would you propose is the best options to consider minimizing the impact? If you can speak about a few options, it will be useful to our viewers.
Okay, thank you. It's a tough one because currently, looking at the current situation, so let me get back, from the start. You have to understand the impact right now. What is the contribution of the US market to our industry? If you look at the total exports, it's about 25% of our total exports goes to US. If you look at our industry, apparel industry, it's little over 40% to US. So, which means it's a very tough situation. If we are unable to, your question is if you are unable to get into a proper solution on this, which we are not thinking that way very badly, because we hope that there will be some ground realities that US also will understand, because now the main exporter to US is at the moment China. As you know, China also been imposed 144% of taxes. That's big quantity. China's trade deficit also with US is about $275 billion, whereas ours is about $2.7 billion. So it's 100 times. So as you can see, they export a lot. They export a lot to US. If I'm not mistaken, I didn't have that figure yet with me, but it's huge. So what we export is only about $3.1 billion. So then, which means now at 144% of tariff, several of US buyers, they look somewhere else from China, not China. Of course, yeah. Theoretically, Bangladesh, India, they are more beneficial with this current tariff rates. India at 26%, Bangladesh at 30 or 36 or 37%. So what happens is, but Sri Lanka also at 44%. At the moment, Vietnam 46, 40, Cambodia, they are also there. But the reality is still they are cheaper than 144%. 144% of China's tariff. So people need to look at for capacities, and maybe even the countries will not be able to, even different countries also. Let me be specific about the apparel industry. So what is gone from China will be distributed all over. Okay. This is one positive thinking, So then, of course, then we'll be able to hang on to that. At least we may not be gaining much, because the gain will go to the India, Bangladesh, even some African countries, but at least we will be able to maintain the status quo. Okay. Then, let's say if it doesn't also work, what happens is the industry plus our total exports, we expect total exports to US will be reduced at least by 25% in the start. 25% of the total exports to US will come down. So which will have a big impact, which means we may have to downsize. A lot of companies may have to downsize, and maybe some of the SME sector companies may have to wind up their businesses as well. These are realities because a lot of people have been telling, like, why don't you look up for some different markets, different product exports, export diversification? Why we don't have time? Okay, and we've been trying, to look for the different export markets for the last 10, 15 years, and we have been asking the government help also to get into some free trade agreements because the markets are not the international market. I mean, it's not a level playing field. For example, Bangladesh being a LDC country, which is the least developed country, they can export to European Union or any other part of the world without worrying where they source the fabric. Sri Lanka also has the EU European Union GSP Plus, but we had to worry because we are still utilizing only about 50% of the GSP Plus utilization because we have conditions. We have to source the fabric from European Union or SAARC country or from Sri Lanka. We can't source all those fabrics, although we try our level best to source the fabric from Sri Lanka, but they aren't able to provide all the kinds of fabric we need, as well as they don't have the capacities enough. So, a lot of people, a lot of manufacturers, they source the fabric from China, Taiwan, Thailand, Indonesia, so such countries. So which means they are not entitled for EU duties. So we are not able to even expand our EU export source. Plus, we are also the long term. We also don't know that how long we'll be able to sustain the GSP Plus. Now, by end of next year, the European GSP Plus will be re-looked at. In the sense, not only for Sri Lanka, they are going to introduce new conditions for a country to be eligible to get the GSP Plus. Now, from the current conditions available, there are 27 conditions. We are very much worried about the one condition, which is the Prevention of Terrorism Act, or so-called PTE Act. Now, this is something the government, even the previous governments, have promised. I mean, especially Apparel government has promised many years back that, when we obtain again the GSP Plus, that we will remove the PTE Act or will bring a lot of modifications to the PTE Act. Nothing has happened, but even this, we have spoken to the current government. I mean, actually, we have spoken to all the contestants before the presidential elections that this is a must. And now, even after this government came to power, we also have told them this is a must. They said they haven't forgotten because that's in their manifesto also, that they will remove. They said they need to give time, but I think time is very important now. We can't delay because April, beginning of May, EU monetary mission will be here again in Sri Lanka. So we have to be, at least we need to make sure first we need to keep that. We need to make sure that we will not lose that GSP Plus benefit. Plus, another thing is, even if we are able to renew the GSP Plus facility in the European Union, that will not stay forever. I don't know if you like to stay, if you like your objective for Sri Lanka or your wish for Sri Lanka is to remain as a lower middle income earning country forever, then we can continue. But that's not my wish, that's not none of our wish. We want to upgrade our country to upper middle income earning country. Prior to COVID, there's a target set by World Bank. Every year that target gets changed. I mean, definition of what is a upper level, upper medium developed country. So 1 year we have achieved that one, but if a country achieve that GDP per capita for 3 consecutive years, then we will be definitely out from the EU GST plus scheme. Okay? Of course, we'll have a grace period of 2 years to get out. But then again, so we will not have even that benefit. So then that's where, rather than thinking being pessimistic, we are always trying to be positive to retain this US market. Okay, so I mentioned the options, but I don't have many options. I think the worst case option will be the industry will be wiped off, or maybe will be downsized. And long term, of course, the government can get into the free trade agreements. Different countries, we can look for different markets. But there will be a setback during the maybe immediate, after 90 days to next 2 years, 3 years, it will be quite bad. So by the time government is ready with the FTAs, I think maybe the apparel industry probably is gone.
Okay, understood, Mr. Felix. My next question is the government, together with Joint Apparel Association Forum, has reportedly submitted request to the US regarding tariff-related concerns. What proposals or suggestions were put forward from our side, and have there been any responses or solutions offered by the US authorities?
Actually, even yesterday we had a discussion with the US, Sri Lanka's US trade section, some officer. They are seen. So anyway, we have offered, like I said, maybe some HS code tariff lines removal, but not everything. So these have been proposed probably maybe because, as you are aware, that there are 78 countries who have approached USA for this tariff issue. 78 countries. So according to that US, the trade officer also, Sri Lanka is not in the top priority list because our issue is quite small, and because our economy is small. So there are several countries that US will get really affected also if they don't sort out the issue, because then, for example, the exports from Vietnam, exports from Mexico, they are very much higher than what is coming from Sri Lanka. So, which means that they need to come to agreement with such countries first, or Japan, for example, such countries first, because if not, their own people in that country, the cost of living is going to be. They will face the inflation. There will be subsequent chain of actions going to happen, and it's not good for US economy, right? So we think we have submitted, but on top of that, I think we also have a few items that we should be able to, because the most important thing is, we need to make sure that how we bridge this gap of $2.7 billion deficit of USA. So there are certain things like animal feeds, soy, and plus maybe there could be several other items that these things we don't import from any other countries, and we will not have big issues from our trading partners, in the sense of other trading countries like Japan or European Union or whatever. See, we can't do unlike Vietnam or unlike India, we can't do a wholesale tariff reduction, because two things. Then government will be losing a lot of revenue, which will not help achieving our targets given by IMF. Plus, even if you remove only for the USA, then we are going to have issues with our other long-standing trading partners, like I said, India, China, Japan, EU. It's very, very difficult. So anyway, so they said they will come back, but anyway, a good point is even this. What the message what we are getting is, even according to this, the trade officers in the US embassy, they have been talking and they have spoken to USTR also. So the responses aren't bad, because we think we'll be able to. They'll have better consideration, because even if after that the information, or after that the video or the interview happened with CNN, because that's the interview was with one from US, if I'm not mistaken, US Treasury person. I'm not sure whether you were able to watch that clip. Have you?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So even we said it's surprised, like, because it's not Sri Lanka is not exporting what we call certain items that could harm the US economy. It's just that the fabric, sorry, apparel. So we are staying positively. We'll see.
Uh, Again, now, beyond the US tariff issue, how might the government's plan to abolish the SWAT scheme further affect the Sri Lankan apparel sector? What implications could this have on the long-term prospects for the industry?
It's bad. Actually, even this again from the last year during President Ranil Wickremesinghe's time. From that time itself, that you have been lobbying with the previous president, and then prior to the elections with the main presidential candidates. Then after this government came, especially the import ministers, and you name it. Yeah, we've spoken with all people, as well as even today. I came from a meeting with IMF, with the JAF, two people of JAF, to explain the IMF also the gravity of this issue. Unfortunately, what has happened was that during the previous regime, when IMF was asking about revenue generation or increase of revenue, maybe this is from our Sri Lankan authorities, this is what they have given, saying that SWAT system leads to a lot of leakages, revenue leakages. So, after talking to the Inland Revenue and Ministry of Finance and also IMF, that we have proved, they were not able to prove there's any revenue leakage due to these SWATs. Unfortunately, the biggest fraud of SWAT, I think biggest fraud probably in, I'm not sure, South Asia or Asia, happened in Sri Lanka when the SWAT scheme was not there. When earlier the normal VAT refund system was there. In 2015, I think that's case, if you can recall. I don't know how many billion of rupees. So that's not during the SWAT, that's the other fraud took place. So I think if they think there are some leakages or whatever, anyway, all the VAT exporters, they are giving the bank guarantees, corporate guarantees with the treasury or the IRB. So they can take necessary actions with the people who are trying to, the fraudulent exporters, fraudulent importers, But thing is, instead of taking one by one, they have attacked the whole. We call one of my good friends in our JAF, EXCO, Executive Committee, he says it's similar to carpet bombing. Okay, so that's, rather than using a sniper, you use the carpet bombing and kill everyone. So, so we tried our level best. Actually, last Monday also, IMF have met with the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. And then two of our representatives, including our JAF chairman, they went to the COPF, Public Finance, given their ideas to the Parliament, the committee. But still, it's like, they are bit adamant. They think, now we have to go ahead with by 1st of October, we'll have to go ahead with this scheme. And then today, again, we explain in detail the issues. We are very clear, transparent, because what we said is, even among us, if they find someone try to not clean, or someone try to cheat the IRD or whatever, please, do whatever the legal measures and blacklist. Even we can blacklist also these people. But even some of our subcontractors or some of the material suppliers to us, because this is more relevant to the people, local producers. Got it? Right? So then, but the consequences could be now, especially at this moment, at this juncture, now considering that we don't have an issue, we don't have a solution for also this US tariff thing. It's like double trouble, because especially for the not only for SME sector, or even the whole industry, if they are going to hold the refunds, what is the guarantee? That's what we ask. What's the guarantee that they could give that they'll release the refunds within 45 days? But also earlier, the previous, when they had not the simplified strat, but they had the previous system of refunding, they said theoretically the refund time was 30 days. But we still have some refunds to collect from the IRB which are over 10 years. Okay? I think most of our companies, most of exporters, so if they are unable to refund such overdues, what is the guarantee? How can we trust them saying that they'll do the refunds within 7 to 45 days maximum? Right? And this will have the biggest impact will be for SME, because the cash flow. Okay? Even if they're going to release within 45 days, they need some cash inflows. Probably they may have to go to banks. Who knows? Maybe they had gone through a lot of issues also after the economic crisis, COVID and economic crisis. Whether will they be able to borrow overdraft or ODs, whatever, question mark. And what if they don't give? Maybe if they keep it for another 6 months, what happens? The high cost of interest. So all these we are trying, we must try our level best to reduce our cost of production, but with all these things, it will go up. I mean, we don't have any worry if these actions, if these outcomes lead to a better Sri Lanka. It's not going to help generate additional revenue for the government. We mentioned this today, the IMF representatives also, including the chief of the mission, because you get the revenue and after you refund. But maybe it's the idea of the finance ministry people to show that they have collected this much of revenue, they have increased their revenue. Probably maybe that's one of the hidden agendas that they really wanted to abolish tax, so that they could both say now the revenue they collected is doubled or whatever because of this matter. So even for the large scale exporters also, it's the same thing. But mind you, before the simplified VAT system came, earlier there was suspended VAT. That was applicable only for the exporters, all kind of exporters. Thereafter, only this simplified extract came, and that they included some other category of industries also, like construction. So I think, I'm not blaming anyone personally, but that's where I think if any fraud had taken place, they should, the Inland Revenue Department, they should check that one, because maybe they may have imported a lot of steel saying that this is for this project. So what's the guarantee that they have used only for this project, not sold outside the open market? In our case, always we have to prove. We have to say that this much we imported, this much we bought from the local market, and this is the value of the exports. So the IC's reconciliation happens, and even IRD, they can audit us anytime. But I think the procedure for the local industries who came for this under the express scheme, I don't think that they had that check and balance. So probably maybe at least, but our plea to government is at least, go back to the suspended VAT scheme, so that exporters don't have to pay for their local purchases. Right?
Uh, and the Joint Apparel Association Forum has repeatedly highlighted a target of increasing Sri Lanka's apparel exports from the current USD 5 billion to USD 8 billion. Do you believe this target is achievable? If so, what would be a realistic time frame? And what key strategies should the industry focus on to reach it?
Actually, this target was set by JAF prior to COVID. It's around 2017-18, and we wanted to reach 5 billion, from 5 billion to 8 billion by 2025, this current year. But now still we are under 5 billion. Because 2017, 18, I think those are the years for the first time in history that apparel exports went beyond 5 billion. But then with the COVID and the economic struggle, then I think this 5 billion was going up and down. And last year we ended up only with about 4.8, little over 5 billion if we included the textiles also. So, question. Now, US market is there. US market, we have this issue. Supposing we may get a solution for this US tariff and we survive. Let's assume that. But still, how are we able to get this 8 billion US dollars from apparel sector? It's doable. It's not something impossible, but we need to really strategize. Let's look at. First of all, we need to analyze a few things. Do we have, as a country, do we have the capacity to make that revenue? Right now, I don't think that the existing apparel companies, factories, has that much of capacity to get in there. Few ways are there. That is, one is, that you can work 2 shifts. Most of the companies who are working 1 shift, they can double the shift. But then, where is the labor force? Okay? Sri Lanka doesn't have that abundant labor supply. And also, it's going to be highly competitive with the tourism coming in and some other industries coming in to attract the labor for the apparel industry. So, there are few solutions. Is that we have to concentrate more and more on value-added items. Most of the companies are producing now. That's where we are little different from Bangladesh or some other Cambodia, whatever the countries. We do more value-added items, fashionable value-added garments, but we can go further on this. Second is that we need to really introduce more technology. Technology is not only automating everything. Okay? Or technology is not put the fabric and the machine and get the bra or blouse or whatever from the other side of the machine. But there are SME factories. Some of them using 20 years old machinery. Okay? Sewing machinery, simple machines. But if they can replace these machines, not only SME sector, even large sector also, then you are able to, without any addition to the new technology or whatever, you are able to improve the productivity, efficiency, okay, which leads to the increasing capacity. Okay. But what are the incentives they are getting? I mean, even if they have to go to a bank, borrow and invest, you might argue with me there are something called capital allowances, but capital allowances given by the government, that has a minimum value. If I'm not mistaken, it's $3 million per year. It's minimum $3 million per year. Then only you are eligible to get capital allowances. But to buy sewing machine, you don't need that much. So what we are saying is, like, at least if they can reduce that amount and maybe somewhere even come to very reasonable amount, let's say even $50,000. So this year 50,000 in next year. I'm talking especially the SME sectors. $50,000 is maybe they are able to upgrade about, let's say, uh, the 2000 or 20, 25 machines even, depending on the machine type, or even 50 machines. That is the step number one. So at least they'll be able to get some capital, so that you are encouraging them to. The 3 million capital allowances would remain same, but that's for a big expansion and things, This is for the new machine. Or maybe that you have 15 people working in some, making some items, but maybe you have some automated machines, you have to spend $200,000 to buy that. So even that machine, so you save some labor and you are able to increase the capacity. So that is one way. The other way, the other option is, so I spoke about increasing value-added garments and also for the technology. And the other one is we need to create, because we need to get more investors to the country to increase our capacity. So at the moment, I'm not sure we are ease of doing business. We are on 89th or 94th latest one.
Yeah, not
because I know earlier 94th or something we were ease of doing business, but someone mentioned to me 89. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's very bad. Okay, we are not in a attractive position to get the new investments. So we need to sort this out, that people have to come and invest. I'm not telling only in the apparel, but in any other industry. In any other industry, it's not possible only to go with the local investments, because there is because the foreign investments come, the beauty is it's not only the money we are getting new technology also. It will do wonders, right? So that is one thing. By doing that one, we can increase the capacity. And then last one, not least, maybe we have to also change the model of doing business. In the sense, we need to become like a hub, like how Hong Kong for Asia. Okay? So we have a lot of, we need to concentrate in more sort of getting the orders here, and depending on what's the best place to produce. Maybe then we send some of the orders to Bangladesh or Cambodia, whatever. But the invoicing will happen from here. The money, the profit will come here. We'll give what is for the work done for the other countries. So in Sri Lanka, it will be like a apparel hub. So if we go through all these options, I'm sure that maybe we'll be able to, last one, not least, free trade agreements. We need to get into more different markets. If the investments coming in, we need to get into China, India, Japan, South Korea, Australia, Canada. Very important.
I think even with India, we already have kind of a agreement, right? A free trade agreement.
There's nothing, ECA is there, but also there's nothing, because it's like 8 million pieces. 8 million pieces, and mind you, even how they count 8 million is, if it's a pair of socks, they consider as 2 pieces. This pair of gloves, they consider as 2 pieces. Okay, so 8 million hardly is not, it's not enough to encourage Sri Lankan producers to export to India, because by first quarter itself, all the contributions will be gone. So that's why I think even this time we have requested at least if it's possible, to increase up to 50 million, 8 million to 50 million pieces. I'm not sure whether that will work or not, because ECA as is not going to be beneficial for the country. So they will have to really have a proper negotiation. And unfortunately, previous regime, they had a international trade office or something, right? Because where they were able to negotiate with foreign countries on the international trade. But now, at the moment, it's no one is there. Nobody. It's not non-operational. So we will not be able to go with FTA. So that we've been requesting the government to make sure that we restart that the international trading office sooner, and get some experts and get some resources, good resources, to work with these such countries to uh, get into arrange some free trade agreements. Because, like I told you earlier, you just can't go to Japan because market. Ours are expensive because when Bangladesh and Vietnam send the Japanese importers, they don't pay duty. If we send from here, we pay. Even if our cost of production is slightly lower than Bangladesh, even I'm just assuming, but still, with the duty coming in, Bangladesh products coming from Bangladesh, Vietnam are going to be more cheaper. Even for the India, why you may ask why we are depending on this quota, why can't we just send? Yeah, but India also, I don't know, more than one thing, a big amount of apparels come from Bangladesh. They come legally as well as illegally, okay, to Indian market. So we are unable to, and if we go, they'll have different barriers, different non-tariff, para-tariff also, state to state, different taxation. So it's not possible. So that's where I think we need, being the neighbor, need their assistance. I mean, if it's a true friend, at least at this moment, we are, bombed with this US tariff and extra and everything. I mean, is the correct time for India to show that they are also a true friend, a friend in need.
Okay. Final questions for the day. So now we have discussed the US market quite a bit, but could you also share your insights on the current situation and future outlook for the European region, given Omega Line's strong presence in key markets like Italy and its position as one of the largest apparel exporters to Europe? I believe your perspective would be especially valuable.
Okay. Thank you, Lanka. Yeah, I think as long as we will not lose the GSP Plus facility, we will be able to maintain, and if we try hard, we'll be able to grow this position. Because this is something that we have worked with the Export Development Board of Sri Lanka and also the Foreign Ministry. But we have said to us, even recently, last Monday, we had a virtual meeting with more than 70 foreign missions of Sri Lanka. Okay? What we want to do is, that even European Union, I think there are 27 or 29 countries, sorry, I don't remember how many countries in the European Union. It's 27, 28, 29, something like that. We export only to very few countries, main being the Italy. Okay, and in the Italy, then maybe some Germany, some Holland or Netherlands, few to France. So it's only maybe a handful of countries we are exporting, and some of the countries in the EU doesn't know that Sri Lanka is a good quality producer of apparel. So that's where if we work, and then maybe with this. Of course, the trade missions of Sri Lankan embassies in such countries, they have a bigger role to play. Because industry can't just go in and make the customers or whatever without knowing at least the background information. Let's say, for example, what I suggest is these foreign missions. Let's say a country like, let's say, Norway or Denmark. Okay. If they can study, the trade mission or the trade minister in Sri Lankan embassy in Denmark can study as their job different industries. So let's say apparel industry is our industry. What are the main brands? What are the main Denmark brands in there? And big brands. And where are they importing now from? Okay. And the buyers, so that their names, maybe how much and from where they are importing right now. and what are the prices, average prices, even the shop will be able to get. And maybe they can, once they find, if they share with the Sri Lankan Export Development Board, which in turn they'll share with the other exporters, and whoever interested, they have this thing, or EDB can call from the manufacturers and then make a special mission to go visit Denmark. So where our trade ministry will get not many but few good buyers, where they can make a deal in the sense, they can have B2B meetings and, lay the foundation. I know this job can't be done by 100% by the trade missions in other countries, but the beginning, the startup, the fact-finding thing they have to do, because they stay there, and then maybe not only for apparel, gems and jewelry, or rubber industry, whatever you call, tea. I think it's very important. They can play a bigger role, actually. I mean, we are lacking, but I hope that the foreign missions and maybe their objectives and also most of the people have been changed after this government came, and I hope that they take it seriously. Unlike previous regimes. I wish and I hope that these people will do a better job. And maybe we have to talk. We have spoken with the trade minister as well as foreign minister. I think we get their blessings already, because that's why they are foreign ministry as well as Minister of Industries. They organized this virtual meeting. There are about altogether there are about more than 150 participants, which is really good. But I think we need to work very well, and also that maybe like what you said, the advantage is like 80%, 75% of our brands, Italy brand, what we are producing, Intimissimi, Calcedonia, Tezenis, Falconeri. If you look at that, more than 75% of their production comes from Sri Lanka, and almost 90% of their underwear, that is bra and brief, come from Sri Lanka. So it is, a testament for the other countries, other European countries also, that they don't need worry. So that's where maybe they can make joint ventures, so they can buy the products from Sri Lanka. I think better if they are able to come invest also, not only apparel. So that this is if the trade missions in these countries, not only I took European Union, but it's relevant to all the other areas as well. I'm sure that we'll be able to, because now for this year IMF has given a target, maybe 16 billion of exports, merchandise exports, and I think by 2030, like 26 billion or something of exports. Because for the future, if we don't want to go to IMF as a beggar to restructure the debt restructuring or whatever, take loans, we need to be everyone in the country need to have that focus, on exports. Unfortunately, still, most of the government sector, I'm not referring to politicians, okay, but the bureaucracies, a lot of people, maybe including maybe the general public, they think the companies or the businessmen, they see they are as thieves. Of course, there can be few thieves. If you look at, anywhere, any industry, or even take a bucket of eggs also, you can have one, bad spoiled egg or spoiled apple or whatever. So it's relevant everywhere. So even in the export sector or in the business sector. But, don't judge, by that saying. There are several, honest people that they have spent a lot of things, now even, for example, this, to sort out this US tariff issue from JAF also, there are some people, our committee nominees also for the committee, they work, tirelessly they work. And of course, we have to, before concluding, I have to thank the current president also, because he also has taken this very seriously and he has given the full commitment to get this thing. But there are some people that who really don't appreciate, don't understand, still make different stories or silly statements saying even if lose the US market, we have this, why don't we go there, Africa, why don't. So I think perhaps I'm not sure why. Maybe if such people, keep quiet, maybe that would be a very good blessing for the country, and that's the best thing that they can do for the exporters. So I'm not, but this what is the general feeling what we have, right? So European Union again, but that's not the end. It's your question. GC plus, we are pretty much sure we'll be able to. We are really talking, pushing the government to go ahead and make those changes to the PTE Act, and to at least for people to continue GC plus facility until we become a upper middle income earning country. But beyond that, maybe we need to make sure that the trade, we need to make sure that we'll have, and we need to enter FTAs with European Union, UK, as well as USA. Apart from the countries I mentioned earlier, India, China, South Korea, Japan. Long term, because WTO, World Trade Organization, is like a toothless tiger now. Okay, so it's gone, and nobody's respecting that one. So there's no fair trade now. We need to make sure. I mean, if some people are playing as being opportunists, so we have to survive. We need to be the same.
Okay, Mr. Fernand. Thank you for your valuable thoughts and inputs on how Sri Lanka should face an impending tariff increase after a 90-day breather. Strategizing is the way forward, and it will be interesting to see how the government of Sri Lanka will take it forward. This will be a critical moment for Sri Lanka. Let's stay engaged and hopeful. So until the next time, take care and have a good day.
Thank you, Ranga. Have a very good evening to you.